Hey everyone, in this video, we'll uncover the most valuable Abraham Lincoln wheat penny you should be on the lookout for. We'll break down what makes these Lincoln wheat pennies so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. First up, the Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most collected coins in U.S. history. And today, we're focusing on the 1955 issue from the Denver Mint. This coin is marked with a small d beneath the date, showing that it was struck in Denver. The example we're looking at is in extra fine condition, though it does have some scratches, which is typical for coins that spent decades in circulation. While this particular coin is not rare, it still has collector interest and a fascinating place in the wheat penny series. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse shows a right-facing bust of Lincoln, making him the first real person ever to appear on U.S. coinage. The reverse features the famous two wheat stalks flanking the denomination 1 cent, which gave the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. This classic design was struck for nearly 50 years, from 1909 until 1958, and remains one of the most beloved American coin series by 1955. The wheat penny was still an everyday coin that millions of Americans used for small purchases. In fact, the Denver Mint struck an enormous number that year, over 563 million Lincoln cents. That makes the 1955D penny one of the most common issues of the series. For this reason, the coin is not considered rare, but its value depends heavily on its condition and any special varieties. The example we're talking about is graded as extra fine. In numismatic terms, extra fine refers to a coin that shows only light circulation wear, with most of the design still sharp and appealing. On the obverse, Lincoln's hair and beard retain much of their detail, although the very highest points are worn. The lettering and date are clear and strong. On the reverse, the wheat stalks still display their inner lines, though they may show some flattening from circulation. Extra fine coins are attractive because they strike a balance. They are affordable but still show plenty of detail for collectors. However, this particular coin also has scratches, which lowers its eye appeal. While scratches don't change the technical grade, they usually reduce market value because collectors prefer clean surfaces. So what is a 1955D wheat penny in extra fine condition with scratches worth in today's market? Generally, these coins sell for around 10 to 25 cents. Because of the scratches, this specific example would likely be on the lower end of that range, closer to 10 cents. By comparison, coins in very fine or fine condition usually sell for only 5 to 10 cents. About uncirculated examples may bring up to 50 cents, and uncirculated mint state coins often range from $1 to $5. The most desirable examples are bright red, uncirculated coins, which can sell for $10 to $20 or more depending on grade. Collectors also keep a close eye on varieties and errors from 1955, while the most famous variety is the 1955 doubled die obverse that only occurred at the Philadelphia Mint, not in Denver. The 1955 doubled die penny is one of the most famous error coins in U.S. history, with values ranging from hundreds to thousands of dollars. For the Denver issue, however, some minor repunched mint mark varieties exist, where the D was punched into the die more than once. These varieties can be worth a few dollars in circulated grades and more in mint state. Even if the 1955D penny isn't rare, it still has plenty of historical appeal. By the mid-1950s, America was in the middle of a post-war boom. Families were buying homes, cars, and televisions. And pennies like this one were part of daily life, whether for a bus fare, a candy bar, or change from a diner. Every scratch and mark on the coin is a small reminder of its long journey through countless hands over nearly 70 years. Next up, The Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most popular coins ever struck in the United States, and collectors all over the world still search for these little copper pieces of history. Today, we are taking a closer look at the 1956 wheat penny struck at the Denver Mint, carrying the small D mint mark just below the date. The coin we are focusing on is in very fine condition, although it does show some scratches from circulation, which is very common for coins of this age. The story of the Lincoln Wheat Penny begins in 1909, when the United States Mint decided to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth with a brand new cent design. Victor David Brenner was chosen as the designer, and his portrait of Lincoln became the first time a real person was depicted on U.S. coinage. The reverse of the coin featured 2 stalks of wheat, framing the denomination 1 cent. This design remained in production until 1958, making it one of the longest-running and most recognizable coin types in American history. The 1956 wheat penny with the Denver D Mint mark was struck in large numbers. In fact, the Denver Mint produced over 1 billion of these coins, 1,098,210,100 to be exact. This means the 1956D is one of the most common wheat pennies of all, and for that reason it is not considered rare. However, condition plays a major role in determining value, and coins with special errors or uncirculated grades can bring more attention from collectors. In very fine condition, like the coin we are discussing, the design details are still clear and sharp, though they show moderate wear from circulation. On the obverse, Lincoln's facial features, including his hair and beard, are still visible, but some of the finer details have worn down. The lettering around the edge is strong and easy to read, and the date is clear. On the reverse, the 2 wheat stalks still show much of their inner lines, but there is flattening from use. The coin overall has an attractive appearance, but the scratches do affect its market desirability, since collectors usually prefer coins with smooth, clean surfaces. So what is a 1956D wheat penny in very fine condition with scratches worth? In today's market, generally, these coins trade for around 5 to 10 cents. Because the coin is common and the scratches reduce its eye appeal, it would likely fall toward the lower end of that range. Higher grade examples, such as those in extra fine or about uncirculated condition, can sell for 15 to 20 cents. Uncirculated coins, especially those with their original red luster, are much more valuable, often ranging from $1 to $5. And in superb gem grades, they can bring over $50. Although the 1956D wheat penny is not rare, collectors often look for varieties and errors from this year. Some examples include repunched mint marks, where the D was struck into the die more than once, creating a doubled appearance. These minor varieties can add a premium, sometimes raising the value into the range of a few dollars even for circulated coins. Other striking errors, such as off-center coins or double strikes, are also collected and can sell for much higher premiums depending on rarity and eye appeal. It's important to remember that even though the 1956D penny is common, it holds great historical significance. In 1956, America was in the middle of the Eisenhower era. Rock and roll music was on the rise, with Elvis Presley becoming a cultural phenomenon. Families were enjoying post-war prosperity, with more cars on the road and televisions in living rooms across the country. Through all of this, pennies like this one were used daily, passing from hand to hand for bus fares, candy bars, and newspapers. Every scratch on this coin tells the story of its journey through everyday American life more than 65 years ago. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most collected coins in American history. And today, we are looking closely at the 1944 wheat penny struck at the Denver Mint. This coin carries the small D mint mark beneath the date, showing it was produced in Denver. The example we're focusing on is in good condition, and it has some scratches from years of use. which is very typical for coins that were once part of everyday circulation. The story of the Lincoln Wheat Penny begins back in 1909, when the United States Mint introduced it to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the profile of President Lincoln, making him the very first real person to appear on American coinage. The reverse design shows two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent giving the coin its nickname, the Wheat Penny. This design was struck continuously until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. By 1944, the Wheat Penny had already been in circulation for decades. But that year was especially significant because of World War II. In 1943, just 1 year earlier, the Mint struck cents from zinc-coated steel instead of copper, since copper was needed for the war effort. However, the steel pennies quickly became unpopular. They rusted, and they were often mistaken for dimes. Because of this, in 1944, the Mint returned to striking cents in copper. In fact, most 1944 cents were struck using recycled shell casings from the war, giving them the nickname shell case pennies. The Denver Mint produced a very large number of wheat pennies in 1944. Over 430 million were minted that year with the D Mint mark, making the 1944D one of the most common coins of the series. Because of this high mintage, it is not rare in circulated grades. However, collectors still enjoy these coins because of their connection to World War II and the story of the steel and shell case pennies. The example we're discussing is in good condition. In numismatic terms, good condition means the coin has heavy wear. The portrait of Lincoln is visible, but much of the fine detail in his hair and face is worn away. The lettering is still readable, but the wheat stalks on the reverse are mostly flattened, showing only faint outlines. Add in the scratches from circulation, and it is clear this coin spent many years in the hands of Americans making small purchases, perhaps a newspaper, a cup of coffee, or a ride on public transportation. So, what is a 1944 D Wheat Penny in good condition with scratches worth in today's market? Because it is such a common coin, the value is modest, typically in good condition. These coins sell for around 5 to 10 cents. The scratches and wear put this example at the lower end of that range, closer to 5 cents. In very fine condition, a 1944 D penny might sell for 25 cents. Extra fine examples are usually worth 35 to 50 cents. Coins in about uncirculated or mint state condition are far more valuable, with bright red uncirculated examples sometimes selling for $10 to $20. Depending on the grade, collectors also keep an eye out for varieties and errors from 1944. The most famous are the extremely rare 1944 steel cents, struck by mistake when leftover steel planchettes from 1943 were used in presses. These error coins are worth tens of thousands of dollars and are highly prized. Another rare variety is the 1944 DS, where a Denver Mint mark was struck over a San Francisco Mint mark. These can bring hundreds of dollars in high grades. Unfortunately, the example we're discussing does not fall into those rare categories, but it is still an important piece of the series. Even though the 1944 D Wheat Penny is not rare, it holds great historical value. It connects us to a time when the world was at war, and when even small coins played a role in America's effort to conserve resources. For collectors, it is a reminder of both the everyday lives of Americans during the 1940s and the challenges of the wartime economy. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most collected coins in American history. And today, we are focusing on the 1951 issue struck at the San Francisco Mint. This coin carries the small S mint mark beneath the date, showing it was made on the West Coast. The example we are discussing is in fine condition, and it has some scratches from circulation. which is very typical for a coin that has been in use for over 70 years. The wheat penny first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner. The coin's obverse features a right-facing portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse displays two wheat stalks framing the denomination 1 cent. This design lasted until 1958, and over the decades it became a classic and beloved part of American coinage. By 1951, the world had changed a lot since the wheat penny's introduction. The Second World War had ended just a few years earlier, and the United States was moving into a new era of prosperity. Families were buying homes, cars, and televisions. And coins like this 1951 wheat penny were a part of everyday life, whether used for small purchases or tucked away into savings jars. The San Francisco Mint produced over 136 million pennies in 1951. While this is a significant number, it is much smaller than the production totals from the Philadelphia and Denver mints that year. Even so, the 1951 penny is not considered rare, especially in circulated grades. Most examples, like the one we are talking about, are found with noticeable wear and scratches from decades of handling. In numismatic grading terms, this coin is described as being in fine condition. A fine grade means the coin shows moderate to heavy wear, but the design is still clear and visible. On the obverse, Lincoln's face is fully outlined, but much of the finer detail in his hair and beard is worn away. The date and mint mark remain sharp and readable. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are visible, but their inner lines are mostly flattened. The scratches on the surfaces further lower the coin's eye appeal, but they do not erase its collectability. So, what is a 1951 wheat penny in fine condition with scratches worth in today's market? Generally, these coins sell for about 5 to 10 cents. Because of the scratches, the example we are describing would fall toward the lower end of that range, closer to 5 cents. In very fine or extra fine condition, these coins usually sell for 10 to 25 cents. About uncirculated, examples can bring up to 50 cents, while uncirculated mint state coins often range from $1 to $5. The most desirable are bright red, uncirculated coins, which can reach values of $10 to $20 depending on grade. Collectors also look for varieties and errors. From the 1951 wheat penny, some examples show repunched mint marks, where the S was struck into the die more than once, creating a doubled appearance. These varieties can be worth more, especially in higher grades. Off-center strikes, die cracks, and other mint errors are also collected and can bring premiums well above the regular values. Even though the 1951 wheat penny is not a rare coin, it remains an important piece of American coinage history. Every coin tells a story, and this one connects us to the early 1950s, a time when the nation was rebuilding after the war, and when coins like this were an essential part of daily life. From buying a soda at a corner shop to being dropped into a piggy bank, this penny has lived through decades of American history. Next up, the Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most beloved coins in American history. And today, we're going to take a close look at the 1939 wheat penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This coin does not carry a mint mark, which is normal for pennies produced in Philadelphia. The example we're focusing on is in fine condition, and it shows some scratches from circulation, which is expected for a coin that has been in use for more than 80 years. The wheat penny series was introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner. The obverse features a right-facing portrait of President Lincoln, while the reverse displays two wheat stalks curving around the denomination 1 cent. This simple yet iconic design lasted until 1958, and it remains one of the most collected coin types in the United States. By 1939, the wheat penny had already been circulating for 3 decades. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and the outbreak of World War II in Europe was beginning to shape world events. In America, people relied on coins like this one every day for streetcar, fares, groceries, or even saving. Up in small change jars during difficult times, every scratch and worn surface tells a story of its long journey through countless hands. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 316 million Lincoln cents in 1939, making this a common issue in the series. Because of this high mintage, the 1939 penny without a mint mark is not considered rare, especially in lower grades. However, its historical context and age still make it an attractive collectible for those building a complete wheat penny set. The coin we are discussing is in fine condition. In numismatic grading terms, a fine grade means the coin has noticeable wear, but the design is still clear and identifiable. On the obverse, Lincoln's profile is outlined, but the finer details in his hair, face, and coat are worn away. The date is sharp and readable, and the lettering is still visible. On the reverse, the 2 wheat stalks can still be seen, but their inner lines are mostly flattened. The scratches from circulation lower its eye appeal, but they do not erase the coin's historical significance. So, what is a 1939 Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition with scratches worth in today's market? Typically, these coins are valued at around 5 to 15 cents. Because of the scratches, the coin we are describing would be closer to the lower end of that range, around 5 cents. In very fine condition, a 1939 penny might sell for 20 cents. Extra fine examples can go for 25 to 35 cents, and about uncirculated pieces may reach 50 cents or slightly more. In uncirculated mint state grades, values increase significantly, often ranging from $2 to $5, with bright red examples fetching $10 to $20 or more depending on the grade. Collectors also look for varieties and errors when it comes to the 1939 wheat penny, while there are no famous doubled dies or major varieties from this year. Minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks on coins from other mints are always of interest. These unusual errors can make an otherwise common coin much more valuable, depending on rarity and demand. Even though the 1939 wheat penny without a mint mark is not rare, it still holds a great deal of historical charm. It connects us to the late 1930s, a time when the United States was preparing for change and when even the smallest coins were vital in daily life. Holding a coin like this is like holding a small piece of history in your hand, a piece that passed through shops, banks, and pockets during a challenging but important era. To summarize, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in fine condition with scratches, is worth about 5 to 15 cents in today's market, with this example being closer to 5 cents. Its value may be modest, but its history is rich, and for collectors, it remains a worthy addition to the wheat penny series.